Jim Tatro lecturer presiding. On to the show.
Just a brief introduction at this point. Knights were professional soldiers, high in the order of chivalry, bearing the most noble arm and riding the best horses. Riding the best horses, I liked horses. Most knights traveled looking for work to do battle. An invading army in 1066 that needed for the people of the crown to supply fighters to the homeland brought the noble knighthood and chivalry to England. By the 11th century, these professional soldiers were approaching nobility, but they were later developments. Heraldry took shape in the 12th century, and that number of knights declined from the 13th century onward. The true knights disappeared in the 16th century in France and much earlier in other countries. Knighthood flourished before the times of guns and gunpowder, when battles were still won by hand-to-hand contact of heavy armored knights. Even in peacetime, knights looked for conflict in which to engage. Fighting was an often occurrence because the common person could not defend themselves against an invading foe. In times of danger, the people fled to the castle. When not engaged in combat, the knights would participate in tournaments to win favors, power, money, and oftentimes would lead to courtship. What's that? A bit of romance. Training of a knight began at a very young age, at the age of 7, serving as a page. Until he was 14 years old, he then became a squire. This is when the real training began, learning to use a lance and start wearing heavy armor. The squire also served as assistant to the knight. At the end of his tough training, at the age of 21, he became a knight. There would be a night-long vigil in the castle chapel, a ritual bath at dawn, mass and breakfast with friends and family, and clothing in white vestiture. And knighthood was conferred by a gentle blow on the neck or shoulders with a flat or sword. Sometimes, with much ceremony, the dubbing would take place in public, accompanied by fanfare and music. Knights could be created in the field of battle without any fanfare or ceremony. The prospect of a knight was marriage to a wealthy heiress. Excuse me, do we have any wealthy heiresses in the audience? We're looking. Inheritance of land, there's money to go with it. And service to a noble and high official. A knight's wage was 8 pennies a day, and he would be expected to serve for 40 days a year. Sometimes this service would be as castle guard. Undoubtedly, being a knight could reap great benefits, but it could also be dangerous. Some knights inherited and built or were even given powerful castles. Others lost their lives.
Boy, it's been a hard day. The night is not like the old days, when yet you slayed a few dragons, did a little jousting, and on occasion saved a few damsels, and spent the evening chipping back with the boys and have 1 or 2. Now, we are a part of the International Brotherhood of Knights. Everything starts moving when we call.
Dear, things do change, and I'm certainly happy about it. It makes running your household a heck of a lot easier. That we can count on a steady paycheck coming in, and I am glad to know where my husband is at night. Not sitting in some pub, God knows where, to keep back a few.
Yes.
Let's get you out of that heavy armor and hear about your dad.
Well, the first assignment this morning was an order directly from the king. Well, his daughter ran away again. And you know that who has stolen it, the king's daughter.
Well, I told you, Mr. K. That everything to His Majesty. If His Majesty didn't do something about that daughter, he would run into trouble. What is this? Her third time of running away? And how many nights has she been trying to date?
Okay. Point taken. We know your opinion on this matter.
Okay, so why don't you let Mr. K continue?
So this is what happened.
To the castle, to the castle.
No, not the castle.
To the castle, to the castle.
No, not the castle.
To the castle, to the castle.
I'll scream.
How loud can you scream? To the castle.
Oh my. So I got to the king's daughter back to the castle without too much problem.
Yes. I'll bet His Majesty just spoiled that little princess over and over again, just as he always did.
Yes, you're right. This is probably not the last time this little cherub will have to be retrieved.
Well, honey, let's hear about the rest of the day.
All right. Well, I'll get back to the Union headquarters. I'll get another assignment. Have to do a little armor demonstration at the local military school.
This, and I have cleared out with the National Master that this is the time for him to come up here. It's kind of mic you need to yell into as well as hold up. Okay. The Knight was like a race car driver, and he was nothing without his pit crew, that is to say, his armorers. Because what happened to the Knight's armor as he was jousting and battling and whatever? It got dents, it got holes, it got whatever. And so he'd go back and his armorer would take care of him. Now fortunately in modern times, we modern day armorers have sheet metal. Back in the medieval times, it wasn't so easy. You needed a forge and a whole lot of other stuff. Okay, narration.
What the well-dressed knight wore. A woven shirt covered the knight's upper body.
Okay. Obviously, armor was scratchy, and so you needed to have something on underneath it, and I sort of picture the medieval knight in the medieval equivalent of long johns, and he would have had a shirt and some sort of breeches. They didn't invent modern day pants until after medieval times, but so I don't know what held them up, but something protected his lower half, which is, you see, one of the reasons why we're not stripping here. He also needed chain mail. Now, at the time I'm talking about, or the time our knight is living, chain mail had pretty well gone out of favor as being the only armor that a knight wore. But they usually wore a chain mail shirt which went from the elbow, didn't cover the whole arm, but it covered as far as the elbow, and it went down kind of mid-thigh. And it was protection under the armor in case an arrow got through a crack or around. It was a little, kind of like a bulletproof vest, a little extra. Now, I'm not into making chain mail. I don't, I thought about all those paper clips and I thought no. So we will assume the shirt, we will assume the breeches, we will assume the chain mail. And then we'll go on from there.
A cuirass covered the knight from the neck to the waist in front and in back. King George protected his throat.
Good and tight now.
Need a smaller neck.
A shoulder piece was made of overlapping plates to allow for some movement. A brassard protected the outer arm.
That's why you had the chain mail to protect the inner arm, just in case you had your hand over your head when the arrow came at you.
An elbow piece allowed the arm to bend. A gauntlet covered the hand and lower arm. The tasks were overlapping armor plates covering the area below the waist. The knee piece came next. A greave protected the leg from the ankle to the knee. A sabaton covered the foot. The head was covered with a helmet. Which had a removable piece called a visor.
And there you have, ladies and gentlemen, half an armored knight.
I had a double duty besides the school. I also had to make an appearance at the medieval fair and to do 3 events.
Is that where you had lunch today? You know, Mr. K, your armor's getting a little tighter these days. You might be, you should be carrying your lunch instead of eating out. Now, I'll stop packing your lunch for you these days. We'll get you back into that armor.
My armor is not getting tight. As I was saying, we had 4 events at the medieval fair.
Whatever you say, Mr. K.
Now, the song leader will lead us in the song.
Watch closely.
We need 3 gentlemen volunteers. Do we have any volunteers? Let me give you an explanation of this contest at our medieval fair. The name of this contest is The Damsel in Distress Gets Dressed Fast. And in front of you are 3 bags. And what you need to do is you need to put on all the items in the bag, and whoever gets dressed first is the winner. So, you can start anytime. You can start anytime. Don't forget to encourage people from your state. Let's hear some encouragement. You think anybody from your state needs help?
Oh, yeah!
You have a volunteer to come up and help them. The person's from your state. Oh, Jeanette, go ahead. Have anybody that's a winner? Do we have anybody that's a winner? They're all winners. Okay, you can take off your blindfolds and see your outfit. And I want to thank all of our damsels for the reward of a diamond ring. Let's give our damsels a They're going to be forever immortalized in the secondhand shop where our clothing came from because the lady that runs the secondhand shop has asked for a picture to post in her store. If you're ever visiting Keene, New Hampshire, visit Project Share and you'll be happy to see your picture posted on the wall. Volunteers that are going to join us.
Who would that be?
One of you will land and put you in position.
Hi, Irene.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right.
Probably back up. So toss the ring on the lamp, and each of our people are going to. And each of our people is going to have 3 rings, and they're going to try to toss them onto the end of their lamps. So, yeah, you're working as a team. You're doing the best that you can. Oh, we need practice. So. Okay, anybody want a second? Anybody want a second to go around? Yeah. It was just a practice. Do we have any? And for our ladies, we have diamond rings and
Oh, thank you.
If you want a diamond ring? Okay. Anyways, let's take the link. Let's take the link. It is possible to do it because I did do it last night in rehearsal.
And he did it from a distance, too.
And I can never do it again, but it is possible.
The opportunity to be here early enough to line up my volunteers ahead of time. So I need 8 volunteers of people who feel fairly comfortable with range knowledge to come forward. And if I don't get them very quickly, I'll send Jim out in the audience. Level of the question they would like to try to answer. 1 point, 2 points, or 3 points. If they answer the question correctly, the opposing team then gets a question of that same point value, and to try to block that joust, we'll have to answer correctly, or else the first team gets a point. And it works sort of like that. Does that make sense?
Edith's volunteering over here, Jim.
So Lil, how confident are you feeling?
About what?
About your Grange knowledge. You want to go for a 1 point, 2 point, or 3 point question?
Okay.
Yeah. Easy. 1 is easy. 3 is... Excuse me, Beth. Okay. All right. I'll just start with number one. They're just in order here. Who is the present national master? You're a team, but you're also an individual.
We have to give his full name, nickname.
Just how you know him by.
Oh, Bill.
Okay, we'll take that as a correct answer. All right, now Team B, I'm going to give you a 1-point question, and if you get this correct, then you will have blocked their maneuver, and no points will be awarded, but you won't have lost either. Okay, so who is the present master of your state grange? Okay. So you have blocked. No points are awarded. And by the rules of our game, the last question answered correctly, that team goes first on the next round. So, Bob, would you like a 1, 2, or 3-point question? All right, that's how I like it. All right. With whom does the annual password originate? Very good. All right. Team A. We're going to block that 2-point question. What is the street address of the National Grange?
1616 H Street, Northwest.
Too good. Again, so far we're doing pretty good on our scorekeeper. So you answered correctly last, so Team A gets to go again. We'll just, all right. Who was the first national master?
Oh.
Well, that's cheating over here.
That would be right. Very good. All right, Team B. Our next 2-point question for a block to prevent them from getting 2 points. The first points of the contest. Who was the first national lecturer?
That is tough.
That should almost be a 3-point question. That tells you what the 3-point questions are. Well, a hint, those from New Hampshire don't have to struggle so long to figure that out. John Thompson was the answer. Very good. That was a block. I thought they had Okay. So now your team answered correctly last, so you get to choose Annie. You want a 1, 2, or 3-point question.
Whoa.
Going for 2. Where is the Oliver H. Kelly farm?
And the rest of it.
Are we going to take it, or do we want it to be more specific?
Yes.
Elk River, Minnesota is correct, Fanny. Okay, a 2-point question to block. The Grange was organized on what date?
December 4th, 1867.
We have a winner. Everybody's had a chance to answer. You want us to stop here? Okay. Well, we had a tie. Luckily, I have enough cash prizes for all of you. These are $100 bill pens that you're winning. Unfortunately, you will have to hold on to them for a few hundred years and cross the Atlantic to cash them in.
Right by the song later, Good Enough Joe.
Well, all in all, it has been a very busy day. Not at all like the old days. We had just to ride around on our ponies, stop a few places, and be at the